Homeschool Hopscotch, and I'm here with my friend Megan to tell us about her homeschool side hustle today. She's a real estate agent. So, Megan, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, so I am a real estate agent out of Atlanta, Georgia. But funny enough, I live in Tallahassee. I have the unique privilege of working for someone who allowed me to kind of run after both aspects of my passions, and that being homeschooling and being at home with my kids, and then also doing a career and following my passion. So she's given me this amazing ability to work for what works for me, which then actually benefits kind of everyone involved. So yeah.
That's awesome. So, how long have you been homeschooling?
So this is our third year doing it, because I had to go back and be like, all right, first grade, second grade, we're in third grade now. They didn't, it's really funny. My husband was homeschooled his entire life. His brothers and sisters were, and they used Becca, which was fantastic. When we met, he had expressed interest that, he would like to have that conversation about homeschooling, the girls, and then any future children that we had. So at the time, working full time and trying to figure it all out, I was like, you want me to do what? This, like teaching's not, I can teach adults, like I'm really good at that. That's part of my job. I do trainings and things like that. But homeschooling was like this big thing for me, right? And he was like, no, it's fine. So we researched into it. I looked at Abeka, and not pushing Abeka on anyone. It just works for our family. And so basically what it allowed me to do was to approach my boss and to say, basically, can I work from home? And then, i.e., if I work from home, can I stretch the geographical boundary of where home is? And then can I also add that I'm going to be homeschooling on top of it, so can I have flexible hours? So she was great, and she said yes on a trial period. It's now been, we're coming into our second year of doing it. So it does work. This isn't, the first month that I've been trying this out. So we do it every morning. We get up, we have our routines. I know exactly with Abeka, it lists out what I'm supposed to be doing for the day. It lists out what they're supposed to be doing for the day. So we're able to kind of coexist, and I work around what their schedule is. And then I have a 7-month-old too, besides 2 twins, 8-year-olds. And we then kind of rotate around his schedule as well. So we'll all do homeschooling and, work while he naps. And then when he's up, they'll still do like some of their subjects, and then we'll all come together for lunch, and then we'll go do an activity. I took the girls to sewing class. They just started today. So they're going to learn how to sew, and hopefully they'll be able to teach their mother soon. So that's a life goal, but I'm not taking that project on right now. But yeah, so that's kind of how we're able to kind of do just a little bit of everything. I work, a lot of times I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and get some work done before the kids are up. And then, make sure that I have quality time for breakfast with them, and we're not doing anything. Like I said, same for lunch in the middle of the day. And then in the evening, I set apart time, just to be able to kind of finish up on calls and emails and things like that.
Okay. So, as a work from home real estate agent, because I have to assume most of the time you're at home while you're working, is that right?
Yes, most of the time I'm at home. What's actually really nice is that I run the office, and I'm in charge of the entire buyer department. So therefore a lot of it is, just being on the phone, or a lot of working in like our CRM, right? Like a client management system. So I can do, as long as I have internet access and a phone signal, I can do my job from anywhere, which is nice.
And so what kind of tasks are you doing in the CRM, and when you follow up with customers and that kind of thing?
So right now what we do is we carry, my boss is, she has been number one in the United States 4 out of the last 5 years. So it's absolutely amazing to be able to work for her. And on a side note, I'm not the only mom who who works for her. So there's others in the company. She's really, really good about that. But that's just a side note. So I know I'm blessed. For those of you that are watching, I really do know that I'm blessed, and this is not necessarily the norm. But if you're thinking about it and you do have a relationship with your boss, try it as a trial run. You know, the worst that they can say is no. But I fully thought that she was going to say no. But anyways, so we carry on average anywhere from like 300 to almost 1,000 listings at a time. So we work with on average, 50 to 300 buyers at a time. That's just like an active pool that we're working with, not like all the context that we have to continue, touching base with. So I make sure basically that everything on the buyer side runs, so that all of the agents are doing their job. I audit all of their contracts. I make sure that everyone is happy and productive and, moving forward kind of personally and professionally as well.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So you kind of told us a little bit about what your day looks like, but can you say about how many hours you were working per week or per month, and then what a typical day looks like otherwise, other than what
So
you
I
said?
work roughly about 37 hours a week for
Okay.
this. Um, so normally what happens is I'll wake up. If I'm on top of it, I wake up at 5 a.m. And then I'll have some me time, right? I can't tell you how much more productive I am if I have at least an hour of silence to myself. Um, my husband travels Monday through Friday, so he doesn't come home until about Friday night, and then he leaves normally Sunday night or first thing Monday morning. But even still, I won't talk to him that first hour that I'm awake. We'll talk from like that 6 to 7 hour, or 6:30 to 7, something like that. But that first hour, I've got to be there with like a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, just setting up my day, being quiet, and mentally listing out everything that I have. Um, I have a planner that is basically my best friend in my life. And there's one that's behind me. I have one that's in my purse that goes with me. I put notifications on my phone, so because I'm out and about and I'm doing everything, I need to know at all points in time kind of what's coming from the day. So for that first hour, it's mine, right? Sometimes I might read for a little bit. I'll do some stretches. If my kids or anyone else interrupts that hour, it takes me a while to get back into it. It kind of messes up my day. But then, that 6 to 7 is just touching base, cleaning, getting breakfast ready, getting the girls dressed. They wear uniforms 9 times out of 10 for school. And the reason why they do that is so that way I know if they're playing, or if someone else that comes over, or we go out, if I have to run an errand or do something and they're dressed in a uniform, they're still in school mode, right? And so therefore, how I deal with them and how I, would like the public and other people to deal with them is in that school mode. They're not, there's a difference, right? It's more like then field trips or things like that. So at the end of the day, they'll get out of their uniform. But so we start school roughly right around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And if we'll go through roughly until about 10:30, and then they'll take a break. They'll have a snack. It's like second breakfast from Lord of the Rings. We're constantly eating during the day. So we'll have second breakfast around 10:30. We'll have lunch at like 12:30. And we school up until about 10:30. Then they'll take like a 30-minute break. Their brother normally is down for a nap. And while they're taking a break, I'll be touching base on kind of what they've done. And then they'll go back to school, finish. Normally it's about arithmetic and combinations, and then we'll break for lunch. And normally we try to I take off from about that 12 to 3, sometimes 12 to 4. And that's where I am with them, right? I may be checking my email or answering my phone if it's an emergency. But I'm not actively working at the computer. I'm not trying to multitask. It is just them and me. And then when we come back, normally they'll start school again. The little one will go down for his nap, and then I kind of dig in for a little bit before dinner.
Okay.
So
And now,
that tends to be kind of like our day.
Okay. And now you said a minute ago, you said for this job you work about 37 hours a week. So do you
Yes.
have another side hustle?
So I have, I've kind of started a coaching tree. So what I've done for some people here around me is help with kind of rewrite some of their manuals in real estate, rewrite some of their manuals, and kind of coach them on how to be a better leader, how to really look inside themselves, try to figure out the direction that they need to go. So really picking apart and looking at all of the specific details. What are they missing, right? So I have some people that in a past life, I was in the restaurant business. So I have some people that I kind of will talk to every month and we'll focus on that. And then I'll do, like I said, people that run real estate companies here that they just need someone to bounce off ideas. That's nothing along the same lines as what I do for my current job. I make sure that everything is separate. So for that real estate, if it comes close to what we do, then I won't do it. Right. Because that's like conflict of interest to me in my mind. So I make sure that the concepts are completely different. So the advice can be completely different. So that way, when I am at my main job, I am 100% there. And all of that energy and emotion and thought process goes there. And if I'm doing any coaching, then it's them bouncing stuff back to me, but it has no place currently than in my other place. I don't trade ideas back and forth, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, that's really cool. So then going back to the real estate business itself, if someone saw this video and they thought, well, I want to be a real estate agent just like Megan, like how would you recommend they get started?
So, okay, so um, real estate's a lot more than, and I pause because I'm trying to think of how to actually say this. So real estate's a lot more than HGTV. So I love, oh my God, Chip and Joanna are my heart. I absolutely love them. And, I have my mother's in real estate, my grandmother's in real estate. I don't know how that happened that three generations ended up in the same field. We all do something kind of a little bit different in it. But if you want to become a real estate agent, you can 100% be able to do it and have the flexibility in your schedule. You have to have a process, right? And so most people think that they become into real estate for that flexibility and for making a lot of money really fast, but you have to put in a lot of effort, right? You've got to talk to a lot of people. You have to put in a lot of effort and you have to be very detailed, but more importantly, you have to follow a process. So if you're going to go to a brokerage, you need to make sure that their training is good and that they have a timeline, right, if you will, from point one or point A to point Z, right? This is how you get through the entire transaction. Because what, I remind all of our agents that come on board is, this is the biggest financial purchase normally, right, of someone's life. So we can't mess that up, and to go into it kind of flippantly and very, oh, I'm doing it for me, and this is what I want, and this is, the money that I'm going to make, or this is the life that I'm going to lead. You're on somebody else's time. So when they're off, you're activated, right? Which allows me to be able to then, okay, most people are working during the day, so I can spend time with my kids during the day, which then those 8 o'clock phone calls, 7 o'clock phone calls, we've already had dinner, right? They're already reading their PJs, they're, almost in bed. So I'm able to kind of activate at that point in time. And then, like I said, that first thing in the morning. So it is great. So I would definitely recommend people coming in. And if it's something that you want to try to do the best of, maybe definitely get your license and look to be someone's assistant, because that will give someone flexibility too.
Okay. And so I guess the process for getting your license is probably different in every state. Is that right?
You can normally do it online. So normally what you do is you'll either do it online or you can go to a class. It just really depends on how you learn. I used to be one of those people, right, that would get really distracted by, everything that was going on. So I had to actually physically go to the class. Like I needed someone to yell at me to, physically be like, study, like this is what you need to know. So I will say that, yes, you can either do it online or you can go to a class, and that's the same in every state. And then once you pass that class course, then you'll have a state course that you have to take. And the great thing is a lot of states are reciprocal. So let's say you move, then you can normally just take a quick, little section test in the new state that you're going to, or sometimes it's just reciprocal and you just need a note from your broker that you're in good standing.
Okay, well, that's really neat. So, how much would you say is the startup cost for a job like this?
So normally it's going to be a couple $100 for the real estate course that you're going to take. Um, when you take the test, the state test, that might be an extra 100 or 200. If you're doing a cram course where they kind of they teach toward the test like the weekend before, that might be another $100. Really, you can go all in for less, definitely less than $1,000. I would suggest, if this is going to be your main source of income, if you're getting into it, you're really going to want about 3 months of your bills paid, because real estate's like a 90-day behind, right? So if you start working with a client, it's going to take you 30, 60, or 90 days to get them to be able to find a house, go through the inspections, and to be able to close. So you want to make sure if you're getting in and you're selling real estate, you're getting in with a good company, but that you do have kind of that 90-day comfort. So that way you're not panicking and being like, this isn't for me. I don't know how to do it, because it's hard if you're constantly thinking like, I can't get across town because I don't want to waste the gas. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? So that's kind of one of the things that I find, if you're not clear that, hey, that 90 days, you're not going to make anything, right? It's all going to then come after that, because you have to
Okay.
work really hard for the 90 days to then start to see the closings that happen.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a great tip. So, what other advice would you offer to somebody who's new and decides that they want to do this?
I think, so I think if you're new to, let's say, the homeschooling, let's say that you work, right? And whatever job that you're at, and you're new to wanting to learn about homeschooling, I think, go with what your heart says. And we tend to have, God, that little voice that is just so negative sometimes, that we can't do it. It's going to be too much work. I don't know anything about teaching. I didn't go that far in school, whatever it is. I don't have time. That's like the biggest one, right? We make it up ourselves, right? So we are whatever we tell ourselves. So I can say that I had to stop listening to what other people were telling me, because I started buying in. Like, for example, I would have people go, oh my God, I don't know how you do it. Like, I would be so tired, right? Or like, I don't know how you do it. Like, I just couldn't be around my kids all day, Like, I don't know how you do it. And it was like, I don't know how you do it, something else. And they meant it, right, in a good way, like as an encouragement. But then I started to realize, like, I am tired, and they are sometimes get under my skin, and then it was like I had an excuse that I could like pull out of my back pocket that was acceptable because other people thought it, right? So if you want to get into any side business, or you want to get into a business and you want to homeschool, right, you're not crazy. You can completely do it. It's just a matter of setting up your priorities and holding yourself accountable. Like, that is the biggest thing. The standard that you set for yourself has to be almost rigid in your discipline, which doesn't mean that you can't fall, right? There's days where I will be on video, and if I'm totally going to wrap myself out, and I will be in my suit from the waist up. And I'm still in PJ pants from the waist down, because 5 minutes before my video started that I'm teaching a class on, I'm like yelling at them to turn on their video, like trying to put the little one down, and I scoot in like this, and then I'm ready to go. But I'll give myself grace on those days, because we do have those days, but I never allow myself to have those days two in a row. Because if I have those days two in a row, I'm inherently lazy, and I will then grasp onto them. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
I know that about myself. So I think going into homeschooling, going into working and doing anything full time, or all of these side hustles that we do, we can do it all, right? And that's not a pep talk. We actually like are physically able to do it all. Women are the biggest multitaskers I've ever met. And I think that, for a lot of us, the more activated we become, the better we feel. Like, I feel, when I eat better, I feel better. When I drink my weight in water, like I feel better. My head is clear when, even if I just stretch for 5 minutes, I'm not running a mile, but I feel better. And I've realized that I need all of that in order to like actually check off on my day and be excited about like each win, you know?
Absolutely.
Um, I was gonna say I'll leave this. I saw a funny like meme the other day and it really stuck with me. And I actually sent it out to my team. And I was like, it was all about being really stressed. And it was like, I've decided to replace the word stress in my life with blessed. Right. And it was like, or no, with excitement. And it was like, I'm going to replace the word stress with excitement. So every morning I'm like, I am really excited about all of this stuff in my planner right now. And then throughout the day, I'm like, I'm really excited that I got done A, B, and C out of my planner today. So that would be something that I would tell someone. It's those little shifts in your mental state that will actually be able to make you do it.
That's awesome, Megan. So, Megan, before you go, let me ask you one more question about real estate itself. Like, what would you say is the best part of your job and the worst part?
Um, the best part of my job specifically is that I do have flexibility, right? I have a boss I love and adore, and worked on and off I've known her since I was 21. I'm 37. So, I went and kind of found myself and then came back and she I have someone who constantly pushes me and doesn't accept any BS that comes out of my mouth. Right. And I will say that as hard as that is to hear when someone's constructively criticizing you or telling you that you're not doing enough, I can tell you that every time that that's happened, I've looked back and been like, she was right. I was in a funk, or I was in a mood, or I was sacrificing something because I wasn't 100% like in charge of myself, and I wasn't 100% like okay, I wasn't taking care of myself, and that reflects itself out down the line in your kids or your job or your health, whatever it is. So that's probably the best for all the stress, all the phone calls, all the emails, everything else during, constantly checking to make sure that everything's okay. I'm sorry if I keep looking at it, I'm just making sure. um, you know she gives me grace, right? And I think that's the biggest part. So looking for a job, like have a connection with someone that will push you, and challenge you, because then they'll continue to force you to rise to the level you need to be at to do it all. That being said, the worst part of it is, we always have that fear of like we're not enough, you know. And so that it's not the hours, it's not, it's not anything else. I mean, everyone wishes they'd be paid more, but it's not that directly, but I'm good. But I think it's just, I don't feel sometimes that I do enough because I'm, we're homeschooling and I've got a little one, and my husband travels, so dedicating time during the day to him. So I think in general, that would be, I always feel like I could do more, because I'm not like focused for like 8 hours in at one thing, I'm like, did I give everything I was supposed to give today? I think so. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that anybody that works from home has that anxiety, that thing in the back of their head that says, am I doing as much now as I would if I were working in the office or working away from home?
Well, what's funny though is I will argue till I'm blue in the face that we do more. Right. And I will argue until I'm blue in the face that we do more, because all we do is worry that we're not doing enough. Right. So therefore, every chance that we try to go over and above, if it's 11 o'clock at night and you're still doing something, or 5 o'clock in the morning, or like not clocking in, but I'll be taking phone calls or answering emails. And I'm like, well, I'm not really sitting in front of something, but I'm still going to work. like I'm going to try to fit it into here, but because it's not 100% my attention, right, then I'm not going to like charge these hours. So I argue all the time. I'm like, I work a lot more than what I say I do just to make sure it all gets done. But sometimes it takes a back seat, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Megan, this has been such a wonderful interview. You have really enlightened me to what it's like to be a real estate agent and work from home. So thank you so much for talking with me today.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thanks
you
for
have a
having
good
me.
day.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye.